Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow. Welcome to Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church. My name's Alan Gann. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm your worship associate this morning. I'm joined by our worship leader, Susie McGee, whose pronouns are she, her, hers. We're excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning. We're so glad to have you with us today, whether you're joining us in person or virtually, whether you're here for the first time or you've been here for longer than you can remember. That's me. Here at Horizon, we welcome people of all faiths and of no faith in particular, whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome among us. Here at Horizon, please be our guest in the fellowship hall after the service for coffee and conversation. It's a great time, good time to mingle and get to know everybody. As a community, we welcome the sharing of joys and sorrows and concerns, and you're welcome to fill out a joys and sorrows slip. They're on the table right down here. They're at the welcome center in the back, or they might be in the pocket right in front of you. And you're also welcome to come up here and light a candle. And this can be done at any time before the service or in the service up through the beginning of the offertory. I have just a couple announcements before we begin the service. After the service, families are invited to go to the pizza party with games after the service. That will be in the fellowship hall. Horizon will be providing the pizza, the drinks, and the games. Come and relax and get to know the other young families in this church. And speaking of young, the young adult group is having an art hangout today in the library. It starts at 1 p.m. Bring your supplies, or they'll have supplies for you. They welcome all kinds of art, whether it's drawing, writing, crafts, origami, whatever's your art form, it's welcomed there. So if that's you, that would be a good thing to do. Also out in the hallway here in the foyer, Suzanne and Zoe Rojo, who had their art up on the wall a couple of months ago, they'll be selling some of their new art creations. And some of the proceeds will support the church. So that'll be also out in the hall. Check that out. And finally, as we prepare for our service this morning, take a moment, set your cell phones and other electronic devices to worship mode. Thank you.
Our call to worship this morning is from Sharon Wiley, found on Worship Web. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here, all of you. Every part of you, beautiful, just the way you are. Here, you do not need to be something more or something less. No holding back, no hiding. No exerting yourself, no trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or to the person sitting next to you or to the children or to anybody. You don't have to try to be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You are beautiful. Every part of you. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your limbs, your face, all beautiful, just the way they are. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you, different from each and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together. chalice in our church is not used to drink, but to ignite a flame that can bring light, warmth, and love into these dark times. The flame of our chalice is a symbol of the enlightenment for which most of us strive. Our flame is a beacon for all who wish to be part of our beloved community, regardless of who they love, how they choose to present themselves, and how they worship. We light this chalice so all who need what we have to offer can find their way through our doors.
Please join me in our affirmation, which is printed on the back of your order of service and projected on the screen behind me. As we say together, love is the doctrine of our church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 1014 in the Till hymnal, Answering the Call of Love. The words in the hymnal will not be the ones we're singing. We'll be singing the ones that are projected with the less ableist lyrics. Thank you.
Of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Asking you some questions, maybe during the story and definitely at the end of the story. So when I'm reading this book, please look for history in it. So the book today is called Grandpa's Pride. It's written by Harry Woodgate and also illustrated by this author too. It is a Stonewall Book Award book. Grandpa's Pride. Every summer, I stay at Granddad's house by the sea. There are lots of fun things to do, like feeding Granddad's chickens or going to the beach in his camper van. While Mom and Dad unpack, Gilbert and I go adventuring. Gilbert loves exploring, especially if it involves chickens. Together, we build a pirate fort in Granddad's attic and search for hidden treasures. What is this? So colorful. It'll make the perfect sail for our ship. Millie, dinner's ready, calls Granddad. Aha, I see you've found my old pride flag, and I have a close-up of it in the next slide for you to take a look at. Just bookmark that in your mind. What is pride, I asked. Pride is like a giant party where we celebrate the wonderful diversity of our communities and demand that everyone should be treated with equality and respect, no matter who they love or what gender they are. And if you look at the signs, love is a human right, no H8, no hate, I like that one. It's okay to say gay, equality for all we need is love, trans rights now. When your Gramps and I were younger, we went to lots of pride parades. We marched, looks like that's New York City, don't you think? And danced, and look at that. There's like a pride flag, and it looks like a German flag. I wonder what that could be about. And sang and made lots of new friends along the way. Can we go to Pride? We could go in your camper van. Oh, my partying days are over. I'm far too old, and the city is too busy. Granddad is older, but surely has plenty of partying left in him yet. Why don't we celebrate Pride here instead, I asked. Granddad needs some persuading, but the next morning we suggest my idea in the village, and soon it's decided. And if you look at that sign, it says Village Pride. This could be us. Lots of fun, hearts, pride flag, sun, rainbow, love, ice cream, LGBTQ plus liberation. We need your help. We're going to have our first ever Pride. We put up posters asking for volunteers, and before long, the village is bustling with activity. And you can see all the colorful flags. I think I see a Pride crosswalk being painted. There's lots of things to see in this picture, aren't there? My wife and I will make some flower arrangements, said Mrs. Alves. Can I offer some rainbow carrots, said Mrs. Singh. I helped Mrs. McClellan and her daughter Fleur make a Pride-themed book display at the library. Over the next few days, banners are made, flags are flown, and songs are sung. Some of Granddad's neighbors are even going to put on a drag show. I joined Fleur and her best friend, Io, to make some costumes for the parade. I feel shy at first, but I remember what Granddad said about making new friends. Soon, we're roaring with laughter, and there is glitter everywhere. Io's sibling, Tammy, works in the bakery, and we help them bake some tasty treats. Each color of the pride flag has a special meaning, and they're all included in this cake, Tammy explains. As they tell us about the history of pride, I feel proud to be playing my part. Just like our cake, it's who you are inside that matters. Pride is about sharing all your beautiful colors with the world. There's only one thing left to do before the big day: plan the route the parade will take. And you can see the very complicated route it's going to take. That night, I can barely sleep. I'm so excited. But when Granddad comes to say goodnight, he seems distracted. I wonder what he could be worrying about. And in case you're wondering, on top of the bookshelf, there's Granddad and Gramps, I think his name is. And that's when our narrator was very, very young. On parade day, the village is filled with laughter, color, and light. But Granddad is nowhere to be seen. Oh no, does Granddad feel sad that Gramps isn't here to enjoy the pride with him? What if he's decided not to come? Today won't be the same without him. We search everywhere, my excitement fading away. Suddenly, I spot a familiar splash of pink. Granddad is leading the parade in his pink van. Thank you all for coming. Today, let's celebrate love, joy, hope, and families of all different kinds. Together, we can build a world where everyone is proud to be themselves. And there's some really great signs there. I hope you're reading them while I narrate. You and Gramps are so similar, said Granddad. He was always coming up with clever ideas. Just like you. You would have so loved each other. I think I spot a tear in Granddad's eye, and then rain starts gushing down. But everyone keeps on dancing and marching and singing. Granddad looks out to the sea and smiles. A rainbow shimmers over the horizon. Perhaps Gramps is here with us after all. So I asked folks who have been around a while, let's maybe start with the flag. What did you notice about some of the pictures, especially when Gramps, who obviously is no longer with us, was around? What did you see? And it doesn't have to be kids, it can be adults too. Did it look the same? Oh, it did not. Yeah, that's because the flag has really changed. The pride flag has changed a whole bunch. What did it have? Do you remember? Think back to the very beginning, and maybe our AV folks can go back to that picture with the pride flag in the attic. There was something missing. Go ahead. Yeah, there were different colors, and there were only a couple of colors way back then, because Gramps probably was around in the 70s and 80s, I imagine. Granddad, I mean, and Gramps. All right, so tell me about this flag then. Why are all these new stripes on it? Y'all know? I got the same person answering, so I'm gonna see if anybody else knows. And adults can answer too, it's fine.
Well, it's become more representative of transgender people and people that identify other than LGBT.
Yeah, there's more than LGBT. There's so many different colors to represent the rainbow of people represented by this flag. And I can remember it's called the Philadelphia flag, where they added the brown and the black stripes here. And I have one more thing to ask you. There's something missing off this flag, and it was in the book, and I tried to be really obvious about it. I have an older pride flag. What's missing? Yeah, the yellow circle, and that's for intersex people. And so we don't have a current pride flag with us today, but please understand. Well, okay, over the water fountain, they say. So anyway, go ahead and take a look at it, and you can think about Gramps and Granddad and how the flag has evolved, and also how pride has evolved too. Well, thank you so much for listening. We're going to sing the children out to their rooms, and here we go.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Welcome to the Offertory, one of my favorite parts of the service. It really is. I love listening to the music with no agenda other than listening to the music. But even better than that, I love taking actual green money out of my wallet and placing it in the basket. I pledge electronically, and that's all taken out regularly, and I don't see it. And that's the problem. It's kind of imaginary. It's just another line on my statement. It's between like KERA and the toll tag. But giving, my dad would call it cash money. Giving cash money reminds me why I care about Horizon, why Horizon is important, why I want to support this church. So I invite you, as you are able and comfortable, to join me and reflect on why Horizon Unitarian Church is important to you and our communities, and then place some cash money in the basket. It'll feel good, I promise. The offering will now be joyfully given and received. Thank you for your generosity.
We've cleared off the table, leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I've told you a story, tucked you in tight, at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sail to carry you to sleep, over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. Oh, you can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know that I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. There are children who grow up strong and bold, while some are quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some take it slow, some go in their own way and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some leave every label behind. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible for you. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friends the best part of yourself, they'll give the same back to you. Oh, you can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know that I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done.
Our first reading today are excerpts from Erin Blakmore's National Geographic article, What Was the Stonewall Uprising? In 1969, police raids of gay bars in Manhattan followed a template. Officers would pour in, threatening and beating bar staff and clientele. Patrons would pour out, lining up on the street so police could arrest them. But when the police raided the Stonewall Inn in the early morning hours of June 28, 1969, things didn't go as expected. Patrons and onlookers fought back, and the days-long melee that ensued, characterized then as a riot and now known as the Stonewall Rebellion, helped spark the modern LGBTQ civil rights movement. LGBTQ people had long been subject to social sanction and legal harassment for their sexual orientation, which had been criminalized on the pretext of religion and morality. By the 1960s, homosexuality was clinically classified as a mental disorder, and most municipalities in the United States had discriminatory laws that forbade same-sex relationships and denied basic rights to anyone suspected of being gay. And although some gay rights groups had begun to protest this treatment publicly, many LGBTQ people led their lives in secret. The Stonewall Inn was grubby, barely legal. Located in Greenwich Village, the heart of the gay life in New York at the time, its patrons were among the most marginalized members of New York's LGBT community. It was including underaged and unhoused persons, people of color, drag performers. As Dick Leach, the first gay journalist to document the events, wrote, "This club was more than a dance bar, more than just a gay gathering place. It catered largely to a group of people who are not welcome in or cannot afford other places of homosexual social gathering." On the night of the raid, police arrived intending to follow their usual pattern of seizing the bar's liquor and arresting its patrons. But this time, the patrons resisted. Violence broke out as the officers tried to calm the crowd. In a spontaneous outpouring of frustration, patrons and onlookers began yelling and throwing objects at the police. There is little agreement about the events of that night, aside from the fact that the patrons violently clashed with the police. Newspaper accounts, oral histories, and reports conflict with one another. Jason Bauman, curator of New York's Public Library's LGBTQ collection, writes that scholars still debate how many days the uprising lasted, who threw the first brick, the first bottle, and the first punch. But regardless of who started the uprising, the police raid did not go according to plan. As violence flared outside the bar, officers retreated inside and barricaded themselves in the building. Protesters burst through the barricade, exchanged blows with the police, and lit a fire in the club. It took hours for the officers to clear the street. And the next night, thousands came to the Stonewall Inn to taunt the police. Clashes broke out again that night and sporadically in the days that followed. In the aftermath of the rebellion, participants and the Greenwich Village residents who were tired of living in the shadow of oppression were galvanized. They joined forces with those who had already begun protesting discrimination against LGBTQ persons. Michael Fader, who had been present at the raid, recalled, "Everyone in the crowd felt we were never going to go back. The bottom line was we weren't going to go away, and we didn't." Within months, people who had once feared holding hands in the streets had taken to the streets and demanded gay liberation. The movement, stoked by the police raid in Greenwich Village, soon spread to cities across the country. In 1970, a year after the raid, activists led by Craig Rodwell commemorated its anniversary with what they called Christopher Street Liberation Day, now recognized as the first Gay Pride March. The events at Stonewall have been celebrated ever since, though only in recent years have people of color and transgender people been widely recognized for their pivotal roles. Decades later, the events at the Stonewall Inn are seen as a revolutionary turning point that electrified the gay rights movement. Though the movement has seen many important successes, an uphill battle for equal rights remains. In recent years, hundreds of bills have been introduced to state legislatures aiming to weaken non-discrimination laws, limit access to medical care, and public accommodations like restrooms for trans people, and ban books and performances like drag shows. The passion that ignited Stonewall still lives on in today's advocates fighting for civil rights.
It's Pride Month. So what? Pride has not been all rainbows and parade floats. Today, we will touch on some history, look at what's happening now, and hopefully leave with a sense of how to ensure future Pride Months. I'm scared. There are so many things to be afraid of right now that just listing them would take longer than any of you are willing to sit here. So we won't do that. But it's June, it's Pride Month. By the third week of Pride Month, you've probably already heard everything I'm gonna say, but hopefully I can do it with a unique perspective. As far back as 9,600 BCE, there were several allusions made towards men who loved men. It was millennials later, approximately 600 BCE, that women loving women were known to have been portrayed, with Sappho's poetry was recognized as depicting strong female-to-female relationships. Sexual acts between people of the same gender have been criminalized for hundreds of years, particularly in countries with Judeo-Christian roots. One of the first such laws can be found in England in the year 1290, which was based on the book of Genesis story of Sodom and Gomorrah. In 1533, King Henry VIII split from the Catholic Church, led to these laws moving out of the church and into the secular courts. As the English Empire grew and more of the world became colonized, these laws were brought even into cultures that had accepted same-sex relationships. In some larger cities around the world, communities started forming in the 19th and early 20th century. By the 1950s and 60s, there were organizations like the Mattachine Society and the Daughters of Bilitis, which emerged in the US, who promoted gay rights quietly because of the widespread criminalization and discrimination being experienced. Both groups initially ran just as social clubs, providing safe spaces for people of the LGBTQ+ community to connect and be together. Later, they expanded their activities to include education, advocacy, and publishing. They launched magazines so that they could reach an even wider audience. It should be no surprise that these two organizations were not the only groups to meet. There were bars in larger cities known as hangouts for gay groups. And as we heard from the reading, police in New York regularly raided the gay bars, especially in the not-so-nice areas of the city. And on June 28th, 1961, the people being attacked had had enough. Those at the Stonewall Inn, as well as onlookers in the area, began to fight back. A year later, there was a march to commemorate St. Christopher Liberation Day, seen by many as the first gay pride parade. A well-recognized addition to the gay pride movement came in 1978, when the rainbow flag was introduced as a symbol of the community. It originally had 8 stripes, each having a distinct meaning. Hot pink represented sex, red represented life, orange represented healing, yellow, sunlight, green represented nature, turquoise was for art and magic, Indigo was for serenity, and violet was for spirit. Practical things got in the way, and it was difficult to obtain the hot pink material, so that got dropped from the flag first. There were different explanations for why the turquoise stripe got dropped, but the most common flag now has 6 stripes. There have been multiple variations of the flag, some to represent specific subgroups within the community, whereas others strive to be more rather than less inclusive. And one of the current popular versions is the Progress Pride flag, which includes the chevron of black, brown, pink, blue, and white to include people of color, those lost to AIDS, and the trans community. The AIDS epidemic almost put a total stop to the progress that was being made towards LGBTQ+ rights. It was not until people realized that you did not have to be gay to contract the disease that work finally was begun on work to mitigate the devastation. One thing that came out of this awful time was the creation of the AIDS quilt, the largest community arts project in history in which quilt squares honor those that were lost to this heinous disease. In fact, the quilt has grown so large that they have not been able to display the entire quilt in one location since 1996. In the 90s and early 2000s, work towards gay rights led to acts between consenting adults taking place in the privacy of one's home being decriminalized. A landmark Supreme Court decision in the case of Lawrence v. Texas in 2003 invalidated the sodomy laws, not only in Texas, but across the nation. Over time, gay pride and the rights of individuals who identified themselves as different from heterosexual members of a binary gender became recognized on a federal level. President Bill Clinton declared June Gay and Lesbian Pride Month in 1999. 10 years later, President Barack Obama declared June LGBT Pride Month. On June 1st, 2021, President Joe Biden declared June LGBTQ Pride Month, as we're getting more and more inclusive. I did read an article about LGBTQ rights during that era and how the legislation was moving towards a continued inclusion and acceptance. Yeah. Another legislative bright spot in the struggle for gay rights came in 2015, when same-sex marriage became legal at the federal level, and therefore in all 50 states. When I came out in 2012, it was no big deal, because a lot of the work and fighting was done before my time. By the time I was in a relationship I wanted to share with my parents, my father was gone, and my mother's Alzheimer's had progressed to the point where she didn't even react. I didn't need to worry about losing my church family because I was already a Unitarian Universalist. I also lived in the DFW area, where it was easy to find groups to support and accept my newly revealed identity. Rights for people in the queer community were on an upswing. But with the election of, I can't even say that word, in 2016, this momentum was seriously curtailed. Immediately upon being sworn into office after the 2016 election, he removed all reference to LGBTQ+ content from federal websites. Shortly after that, he withdrew any federal guidance related to Title IX and its protections for students who are transgender. Some of this damage was repaired when Biden took office, but the new president, is going at it even harder in his second term. As of April 29th, 2025, GLAAD, which used to be the Gay and Lesbians Alliance Against Defamation, now it's just GLAAD, attributes at least 255 attacks against the LGBTQ community in policy and rhetoric. Some of these attacks include removing health care protections for transgender people, reinstating a ban on transgender individuals openly serving in the military, rescinding educational protections for transgender students in public schools, arguing that sex discrimination protections do not apply to LGBTQ+ individuals, and encouraging agencies to cite religious beliefs as an excuse to openly discriminate. The Tennessee ban on gender-affirming care for minors was recently upheld by the Supreme Court, meaning all states that prevent transgender children from halting the hormones that would lead to gender changes exceedingly difficult to reverse continue to make this care illegal. Not only that, but Robert Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, is attempting to shut down the crisis hotline services that directly serve LGBTQ+ youth, who are already at a much higher risk of mental health issues and suicidal tendencies due to society's response to them just being themselves. And suddenly, my unremarkable coming out takes on a possibility of danger and menace that it did not have when it first happened. The work that has been done towards establishing rights and equalities for members of the LGBT community is in jeopardy of being undone. But will we give in and let things continue to erode? Will we disrespect and dishonor those who got us to where we are by not doing anything? I invite you now to join in singing our Doxology, hymn number 381 in the gray hymnal, From All That Dwell Below the Skies. Time to honor the joys and sorrows of this community, knowing that we are all interconnected, and what affects one affects us all. This first one is from Ruth and Mr. Moo. That's all it says. The next one is for Mr. Moo and Ruth, and the joy and sorrow is Ruth. From Jessica Hills, a joy. Thanks for the fire dancer at Letha. My daughter was so excited. There was a ceremony here last night that I would have loved to go to, but I was busy writing a sermon. From Judy Metter, about MC. The joy is that MC has finished radiation and chemo treatments for his throat cancer. The sorrow is he has many months of recovery ahead. From Spitfire, to all of you, I want to thank all of you for your humanity and generosity. From Stephanie, Camp Quest Texas just ended, and it was a wonderful week of acceptance for kids to fully be themselves. It's nice they have things available now. And I guess a concern from Carol Chase and the Chase family. They're meeting with the landlord tomorrow to discuss issues of harassment from the maintenance crew. And we hope that goes well. We light a candle this morning to honor all the joys and sorrows which have gone unspoken and reside only in our hearts. Let us pray. Spirit of life, Spirit of justice, source of love that knows no bounds, we gather this pride with joy, rage, and fear, with glitter, grief, and uncertainty. We celebrate sacred resistance and a longing for hope. Today, we still see our queer, trans, and non-binary kin targeted by cruel policies and violent rhetoric. From governor's offices to school boards, from courtrooms to campaign rallies. Bless the LGBTQ plus youth under attack. Bless trans folks fighting for health care and dignity. Bless families torn by intolerance. And bless allies learning together. So let this be more than a rainbow flag. Let this pride remind us love is not neutral, faith is not passive, and liberation is non-negotiable. May we carry this truth in our hearts, march with it in our hands, and build together a world where all are free. And now let us have a moment to reflect on what is in our hearts. Please rise in body or in spirit to join in How Could Anyone, found in the Teal Hymnal number 1053. And as you sing, please look into the eyes of those around you and allow them to look into yours. We will sing this twice.
How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
This reading's a little different. It's called Wake Up America, It's Your Turn to Drive. And it was from a Resistance Anthology, and it's by Stephen Storrie. America, don't do this. America, you're better than that. America, stop pretending this isn't reality TV. America, don't stoop to their level. This is real. America, don't make me copy Allen Ginsberg poems. Now is not the time. America, remember the good times. Remember Kennedy, Lincoln, and FDR. Turn off your radio. The danger is at your door. America, remember Lady Liberty. What are you going to tell her? How could you ever look her in the eye again if you do this? America, what about you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor? What will become of them with Donald Trump in charge? America, you can't be serious. America, don't turn out the lights. It's not too late. America, look at your withered face in the mirror. I know you want to be beautiful again. America, this isn't the way. America, let's not fight. If you turn back now, we'll never mention this again. Though I can't say I'm going to be able to forget it almost happened. America, go to bed now. You've had a little too much to drink. I know you'll feel differently about this in the morning.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to the world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping gonna make. However big, however small, let me be a part of it all. Share your dreams with me. We may be right, we may be wrong, but I wanna bring you along to the world I see, to the world I close my eyes to see. We close our eyes to see. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams, it's all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make. She doesn't know I was going to say something, but she should know. Anyway, I grew up as a Methodist daughter, a preacher's daughter. And when I came out to my dad, and I was not quite 40 yet, he told me that he'd already known because I ended up leaving an email open on his computer talking to Cathedral of Hope saying, hey, I think I'm gay. But he didn't say anything. And I said, well, Dad, why didn't you say anything? And he said, I was waiting for you to be strong enough, to feel strong enough to tell me. And I said, well, I didn't want to let you down. I was his only girl. And he said, honey, you could never let me down. He said, we will get through this together. The second time I came out to my dad was a few years after he was up in the VA home with Alzheimer's. And it came apparent to me that he forgot. And he was getting close to where he couldn't really hold on a conversation. It was progressing. And so I told him. And at first he was a little upset, and I said, Dad, I've done everything. I got married, I have 2 beautiful children, I tried to do what I was supposed to do, but it wasn't right for me. And my dad thought about it, and he goes, you know, all I ever had wanted for you was to find someone who would love, honor, and cherish you. He said someone. He didn't say a man. He said someone. So I think a minister who had been doing that all his life, if he could change, if he could have that openness, I think there's hope. And that we can do something. We can, but we got to keep going. And not let someone get in our way, who will remain nameless.
To add to that story, I went up with her to visit her dad several times, and at one point, I believe he married us. He took our hands, put them together, and moved them in the sign of the cross. We got officially married here a few years later, but we dream a lot of dreams together. People back before Stonewall and Harvey Milk and others who moved people out of the closet into mainstream society would have thought the progress that had been made was just a dream, 1 in a million. But we are being forced back into the closet by what's happening now. As Stephen Storrie says, America, don't do this. I've been guilty of playing ostrich and sticking my head in the sand. I have often proudly announced that I have not watched the news since November of 2016. But in celebrating Pride, I'm being a hypocrite. Pride is not all rainbows and parades. Pride is a protest. It is declaring that heterosexual, gender-binary people are not the only ones who deserve dignity, respect, and rights as human beings. My trying to ignore reality makes a mockery of pride. The following reading, written by Maya Bird in 2020, really made me realize I cannot remain passive. If you've ever wondered what you would do during the Holocaust, you're doing it now. If you've ever wondered what you would have done during the Civil Rights Movement, you're doing it now. If you've ever wondered what you would have done during the first Pride, you're doing it now. And it goes on, but in the interest of time, I think you get the idea. What you're doing now is what you would have done during those other turning points in history. Last Saturday, June 14th, millions of people took to the street to protest what is being done under our current presidency. Many of those who attended have never held a sign or set foot in a street to participate in such a demonstration. They are doing more than willfully ignoring what's happening in our country. There are so many examples of people who won't back down. From the story of the child who kept throwing starfish back into the ocean, despite knowing they will never be able to save them all, to those who march, write, and call their representatives. It's an overwhelming time, and I've been known to say that since I can't change what happens, I'm not going to stress about it. But that's just what those trying to take over our lives want us to think. This quote from Edward Everett Hale is another that prods me out of my ignorance. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. So what can I do? What can you do? What can we do? Celebrating Pride is a good start. Enjoy the parades, the rainbow, and the joy of coming together. But don't forget that these celebrations are also a symbol of hope and a reminder of the protest and the work that has gotten to the point where we can hold such events. And we cannot stop there. We need to make it clear that we will not go back into the closet. Amen. We can participate in protest marches beyond pride parades, as many of you did last week. Start or join in a letter or postcard writing campaign to let your representatives know what is important to you. Learn what's happening by getting involved in groups such as Equality Texas, the organization that Horizon is supporting this month with our Share the Plate. Know who your representatives are in local and state governments. Once again, hypocrite here. Help those whose values align with yours to be known so they can get elected. It's not too early to start learning about who might be involved in your next local election. Run for a position yourself. Get yard signs that show your values. I have a friend who's involved with Stonewall Democrats, and when I asked her to bring me a particular yard sign, she showed up with a dozen that matched my area. Well, I put them all up, just to be a brat. To be honest, I didn't know who all of them were. But a few days after the November election, I came home to find a beautiful plant and a card on my front porch from a neighbor thanking me for showing her she was not alone. I can no longer keep my head in the sand. We need to band together to do the thing we can. We cannot close our eyes to everything possible. We need to recognize the beauty in each other and keep dreaming our dreams while moving forward to making them a reality. Let us be the people who celebrate pride not just in June, but in every act of justice, every inclusive word, every child who hears, "You are beautiful, you are beloved, you are holy." Let our congregations be sanctuaries of joy and defiance. Let us build a world where no one needs permission to be who they are. This is our calling. This is our covenant. May it be so. Amen and blessed be.
We extinguish this flame, but not our commitment to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. We do this because we envision a beloved community filled with compassion, helping all to thrive in a just world. I invite you to rise in body and spirit, and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 170 in the great hymnal, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People."
So I had forgotten that this hymn had 6 verses. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 6.
1, 2, 3, and 6, okay.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are singing for our lives.
As we leave this place of love and safety, may we go out into the world ready to do that one thing, or many things, that we can do to make everywhere become a little lighter, a little safer, and a little more welcoming. Pride is a protest. Let us do what we can to engage. We take the fire within us and share with others as we go. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.